Yeah, Big Dick Nick can't get it going. He looks scared. And then that report that came out on the Monday night game about him not like getting the plays called in time. Oh shit, here we go. We're
Yeah.
Live.
We are live. All right. These people start getting in here. Here we go. Oh, it actually kind of looks good on YouTube.
I'm ready to do the skull chant.
Yeah, get the skull chant going. Oh my god, that was a hell of a win, though. Hell of a win. There's not much else to say. I don't know. I feel like one thing from the first half that kind of bugged me about the Vikings corners was like Gladney not understanding zone, and I don't even know if that's on Zimmer or if that's on whoever that was on. I don't know. All right, what's up, guys? All right, so we got the live post-game show. We got 7 people in here already. We're just be talking about it, going quarter by quarter, and you guys can ask questions. I got the chat up for me. This is Mike and Jim. We do a podcast every week or so, and we'll probably get one out this week, so you guys can ask questions, and we'll just be here. We'll be answering them. I don't know. What did you guys think about the win? I mean, they heard me the whole first half.
Oh man.
Go ahead, Jim.
No, go ahead, Mike. You should go first.
What was I? Is it a playoff push, guys, or what? We talking playoffs now?
I am bought into the playoff push.
Zimmer. I mean, it was a good. It was a good win. I mean, Dalvin Cook was basically the whole offense today, right? So, but it was good to see him, and I mean, the D made the plays when they had to.
Yep.
But yeah, it's always good to beat the Packers. You know, in Lambeau, it's been a while since the Vikings have actually beat the Packers, so that's kind of nice. Beat Rodgers. But yeah, we'll see where we go here from here. But I'll take the win.
Obviously.
Yeah, you can never be sad when you beat the Packers, especially on the road, since it doesn't happen very often for the Vikings on the road in Lambeau. But I mean, it's pretty impressive considering the cornerback situation the Vikings have going right now. With first, I hope Cam Dantzler's okay. Obviously, we haven't really gotten an update on him. But other than that, I mean, they had guys. They had Josh Metellus in at the end of the game representing Michigan.
Devontae Adams was talking shit to the 16th string corner.
But I mean, they had Josh Metellus. They actually, I think, if I read it right on Twitter, Josh Metellus was on he was at safety, and Anthony Harris slid to slot corner. So,
oh my god.
It's going to be really – there are going to be open tryouts for the Vikings at cornerback this weekend or this week. So, but no, considering what the situation was, it was a good win. Just a really weird football game. I was telling Mike, I've never seen, each team had 2 possessions in the first half. It's bizarre, but I'll take the win over the Packers every time.
I mean, especially in the first half when the Packers went down and they had an 8-minute drive, and then we answered, and the Packers had another 9-minute drive, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, there is no way this offense can keep up with this. And I mean, shit, we did. I mean, and then both teams in the first half too, it was almost like mirror copies of each other. They were going for it on 4th down, and Packers went for it on 4th down. It seemed like 7 times today. That was crazy. I mean, in the chat, we got Michael Miller. He said they showed heart today, and I feel like that's the number one thing. And honestly, I will never be mad that we beat the Packers. I hate this whole notion that we might hurt our draft capital, or this might come to bite us in the ass. No, Zimmer finally got his first win against LaFleur. It's fine. We beat the Packers, and now if you look at our schedule, at home against the Lions. And then we got in Chicago on a Monday night where Kirk could go get his first Monday night win. And then our next 3 home games are Jaguars. Think about our next 4 home games over our next 4 or 5 games. The Lions, the Jaguars, the Panthers, and the Cowboys. The opportunity is there for them to run the table. So the playoff push it's fully there. And Alvin Kamara.
Slow down.
Alvin Kamara.
Pat, slow down.
I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the playoff push. We did it.
No, just remember, this team just lost 40-23 to Atlanta. All right.
That was a fluke.
Just just settle down. Now, if they would beat Detroit at home, then you can start to take another step forward. And if they maybe beat the Bears on Monday night on the road, which those don't go well, but
Monday Night Football
just
spells
how about let's
trouble.
win a home game?
Yeah, seriously, win the first home game of the year.
That's bad. They got to win a home game first, guys. Let's pump the brakes, take it game by game. But I mean, I don't know. I thought it was, I mean, honestly, you got to give credit to the offensive line too. I mean, they blocked well. I mean, they gave Cooks. I mean, there were some big holes to run through today for Cook. I mean, I know they didn't really have to pass block a lot. I think Cousins only threw 14 passes today, but just a weird game. But I got to give credit to the offensive line. I mean, Ezra Cleveland. I mean, they were running a lot to the right a lot that day. I mean, Cook. I mean, a lot of his big runs were to the right. So I mean, that was good to see.
Here, we got a question in the chat. What's your opinion on Kirk being involved less? Should we start going towards sort of a 2019 Titans thing? I like that. I mean, Kirk just didn't have a chance to lose us the game, which is like weird. But I don't know. I feel like the game plan was perfect today. And like when Kirk did throw the ball, it was to Jefferson, it was to Irv, it was to Thielen. I mean, Chad Beebe had a clutch third down, which was, I mean, it was weird to see. I just wish they used KJ Osborne more. But you know what? I don't know how you guys feel, but I actually think Kubiak had a really solid game today.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, this is the way you got to win with Kirk, unfortunately. I mean, you're paying a lot of money, which kind of sucks. He's $30 million. You don't want to see him be a game manager, but I mean, when the running game is, when the running game's good, that's when the Vikings go. So, I mean, I could see kind of that similar, to the 2019 Titans. They got to run the ball. They got to get Kirk in play action get his play action opportunities. That's where he's really good. So I mean, he's making over $30 million. So you hate to see that, but it kind of honestly hurts. But
how many times did he throw the ball?
That's why they're going to win. 14.
14 times.
11 for 14. The one thing that bothers me about today was they didn't try to throw once there at the end. I mean, just how much they trust Kirk. They just don't really trust him. He's making that much money. It kind of sucks, but oh well. I'm not gonna nitpick. It was still a good win.
The only reason I'm not too upset with them not throwing the ball was if the Packers would have had a timeout on that last drive. I mean, the clock got ran off 10 seconds, and there's 12 seconds left, and then it's Hail Mary time. And then we'll see. Yeah, it seems like Jim got disconnected here.
Jim got booted.
I might
frozen on my screen.
I might try to kick him out and then get him back in. All right, here we go. All right, now it's just me and you. All right, I just kicked him out. If we can get him back in here. Here, we'll open up to the chat right now. Live chat. We got 18 people watching. Drop all questions right now. We're just going to be going over the game. And honestly, I kind of want to mention the Packers for a little bit. They got a short week going all the way to San Fran against a team who has beat their ass the past 2 times they've played. I mean, the Packers got to be a little nervous right now. I mean, they were riding the high horse the entire year, and now what? Now they got to go to San Fran. I think they're in some trouble. I mean, I think this Thursday game is going to tell a lot about LaFleur and Rodgers and all of them.
Yeah, I mean, you look at their schedule. I mean, that was a bad loss for them. Like at home, 5-1, chance to go to 6-1.
Yep.
Just a bad loss. I mean, they could have. I mean, the Bears got the Saints today too. So, if the Bears do lose and the Packers could have won, they could have, obviously extended their lead. But yeah, I mean, they had a short week. You're going west to, San Francisco. That their D's starting to get a little, healthier, and their offense. If they're running the ball well, they're tough to beat.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, Dalvin Cook have a fantasy day too. I mean, if you start him in fantasy football, damn. We got a question from the chat. Gaming with Aiden. Did the injuries affect that game? It's weird, but I feel like, I mean, they obviously did just for like schematic things and like all that. But I mean, I really don't know if there would have been a difference if it was Dantzler out there or if it was Chris Boyd. I mean, I feel like for the Packers, I feel like their injuries on like the offensive line with Bakhtiari, I feel like that may have hurt them. But I don't know. I wouldn't pin this game on injuries for either side. I mean, it's a divisional game. It's cold. Both teams are beat up. I don't know how you feel about that, but
Yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, I don't think the injuries were, huge. I mean, I think it's going to hurt the Vikings more in the future, just without, I mean, they just lost Chris Boyd. He was their backup. I mean, Holden Hill's down, Mike Hughes is down, and Dancer has a concussion. I mean, they're decimated in the secondary now. I mean, they don't have much back there, so that's gonna be rough. I think moving forward, I don't think today it obviously didn't hurt because the Vikings ended up winning. But I mean, it's probably going to hurt them, moving forward. So we'll see what they can do with trying to cheer it up.
There we go. I think we got Jim back in here.
Jim's back.
All right, there we go. We're back.
Sorry about that.
Oh, don't even worry about it.
Got booted.
I got booted.
Yeah, but I mean, next week against the Lions, Lions have good receivers, and if the corners aren't there next week against the Lions, that could get ugly too. But then again, the Lions' defense is terrible. I feel like it's just going to be a shootout next week.
Opposite of, today was like a decent scoring game, but I think next week it'll be. I think there'll be a lot more quick scores. Yeah, could be a shootout for sure. I saw Galladay. Galladay got hurt though. He was out today. Really? So I don't know how that's gonna. Yeah, he was out with the hip injury. So I don't know how it's gonna affect him next week. But yeah, the Lions still got good weapons.
Yeah. So here's another question from the chat, Jaden Berry, in regards to the Monday night matchup against the Bears. How do you think the Vikings offense will match up against the Bears D?
Don't like it.
Ooh, no chance.
If they take away Cook, which they normally do, Cook, I don't know if Cook's had a good game against the Bears. I don't know. Really. That's just gonna have to see. I don't like it on paper, especially with how the Bears defense just flies around. And I could easily see that being like the game last year in week 4 when it was 16-6. And it was who was the Bears backup last year? Who did we lose?
Chase Daniel.
Yeah, we lost to Chase Daniel in Chicago, but
fun time.
I think like I said, I made a video before this game. I said if the Vikings win, I don't think they're going to trade anyone before Tuesday. I think they're.
That's a good question, actually.
I actually and I thought if Rodgers would have scored a touchdown on that last drive, I bet you Rudolph, Reef, Harris, a bunch of these dudes would have been shipped over the next 2 days. But I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna stand pat. But I could be wrong. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think any trades are going to happen over the next couple of days? Since it's the deadline's Tuesday. So
that's a good question. I still think, just because. So what's going on in the secondary right now? Would they trade a guy like Anthony Harris? Let's be honest. He's probably not coming back next year. No. With some of the issues they already have right now, you can't be paying a safety. The amount of money that he's probably looking for, even though he hasn't had that great of a year. But if you're able to get a pretty good, I don't know what the value of the third or it's hard to get good value at the deadline. But if you can get like a third or fourth round pick for him, I still say just because he's not going to be here next year, you should look to do it. Rudolph,
how much honestly, for Rudolph,
maybe a 5th rounder, I say, but at the same time, if you traded him, I know, I don't want to dump, I'm not dumping on him because he does some really good things in the red zone, but are you really going to miss a ton? Maybe.
Irv, even though Irv had some bad calls, but in the running game, he's been good. And here, I got a good question here. So just talking about Kirk Cousins today. Even if there wasn't too much to show from him, do you think this is a question from Jesse? Too much to show, good or bad, because of Cook carrying the offense? Is pretty much what did you think? Is that where Kirk needs to be? Where it's back to last year, and now next week, I feel like next week this is just setting up play action a week in advance, which is what they're going to need to do against the Lions. I thought Kirk did fine. He did what they asked him to do, and the couple of times he got sacked. Dude just came running wide open.
Yeah. I think they only had 1 sack today. But with Cousins, I like what Mike said when I was trying. I can hear him in the other room. I like what Mike said. I just wish they would have given him a chance to pick up that. I get it. When you're running, it's 3rd and 9. They don't have a timeout left. The smart play probably is to run it, and. But being 1 and 5, I'd like to give him a chance to throw the ball, just throw the ball there to, see if you can end the game and not even have to put your defense on the field. Other than that, I mean, when he was 11 for 14 for whatever yards he threw for. I mean, yeah, I mean he was fine. It's just hopefully, I guess if you're hoping for the Vikings to get back in it, you just hopefully he gets on a heater.
Yeah, I mean that's it.
He didn't turn that ball over, so that's key. He's been turning the ball over a lot this year, so that helped. I mean, he didn't have to really do much, to be honest. I mean, he didn't hurt him, he didn't do a ton. He just did what he had to do. It was like I said, he's a game manager today. He made some throws when he needed to, and we handed the ball up to Cook. He had some big holes, big runs, and that's how they're gonna have to win with Kirk Cousins as your quarterback. So
yeah. I mean, Zimmer's probably going to show this tape to his grandkids. I mean, this game, Zimmer, I had no defense. I had no, all my guys were hurt. Like my quarterback only passed the ball 14 times. We were in Green Bay. Like, he loves this. Here, question in chat. Star Lego, he says, what's the biggest takeaway from this game? You guys can start off. Just one takeaway for the Vikes out of today.
One takeaway. I would say honestly, they played hard. I think they actually were locked in. They didn't come out flat. Obviously the D had a rough start, but the offense actually didn't come off like the answer right away. So that was good to see. And I mean, just the D line. I don't think they played that bad. They were getting some pressure a little bit. They were kind of getting some interior push. It looked like, especially at the end there.
Yeah.
So I'd say that. I mean, without Ngakoue, they're playing with a lot of guys that are kind of unknowns still. So I mean, honestly, I kind of like what I saw from the D line a little bit, the end especially.
Yeah.
I would say my takeaway is just kind of just furthers the decision of whether to pay Dalvin Cook or not. Because you still it's such still an interesting decision. I was not for paying Cook the money that they paid him. Not that he's not worth it. But with his injury situation, and all the stuff that comes with paying a running back, and it's not a good look to be 1-5 and paying a running back the amount of money that they're going to pay him. At the same time, though, you see why you'd want to pay him. I mean, he can make game-changing plays, and when you have a quarterback like Cousins, and he can just hand the ball off to him, that just kind of opens everything up. And so that was my takeaway. It kind of just I guess to me it kind of just furthers the argument or kind of the decision making and whether to pay Dalvin Cook or not.
Yeah, I agree. I think my biggest takeaway was just Dalvin Cook's a top running back, and it's not even debatable. I mean, I would put him. It's either him or Derrick Henry right now, and yeah, I mean the thought to pay him. I mean, it's interesting because you never really want to overpay for a running back because that's when teams get in really bad situations. But I mean, you look at our two last games when Cook hasn't played. That was last week against Atlanta when we couldn't run the ball at all. And that was with Madison there, who we all like Madison. But I think the gap between Madison and Cook, I think it's starting to get a little wider than I would have anticipated before the year. And then the Monday night game last year against Green Bay when Cook didn't play. I mean, I don't hate giving running backs a ton of credit and saying oh, we got carried by a running back, but I mean, we did. I mean, if Dalvin wasn't there today, we're not winning that game, and we're not even coming close. We got another. We actually got this from Uncle Jim in the chat. He says thoughts on Gladney, even though he misspelled it and said Gladness. You guys take that. Thoughts on Jeff Gladney.
Tough one today for Jeff Gladney.
Jeff Gladney. Oh, he's in a rough. I don't know. He's shown signs, but he gets lost in coverage a lot. I've noticed, especially on that end zone. That play. I think the first touch on the Packers had. You saw him in the end zone just kind of freeze up. Getting beat too easily. You like to see more. I think I don't know, improvement throughout the year. I think he's pretty good against the run. He can get up and make a tackle. But he does get lost in coverage a lot still. So, I mean, you really want to see him improve a lot. I mean, that's what I think one of the biggest things I want to see. Hopefully Dantzler can come back, healthy, but I want to see Gladney get a lot better, throughout the year. Hopefully he can make some strides because, yeah, he's still struggling in coverage at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my biggest thing. Like when I was talking to you, Pep, before we went live, is you see he does seems like a pretty good tackler. Does some nice things out there. It's just coverage. The start of the season, he was giving up a lot of big plays. In that Tennessee game, that Houston game. Um, Now, he was getting picked on today.
Yeah.
And so I I just hope he gets better. He
Yeah.
better get better. It's another first round cornerback.
Yeah. I mean, especially with the Mike Hughes news. I don't know. I mean, I feel like with Gladney, it's just like a roller coaster with him. I mean, it's just like sometimes, like, I mean, and Zimmer actually likes sending him on corner blitzes. I've noticed a lot this year, which is actually like good to see. And we just got a Mitchell Trubisky sighting in Chicago. He just ran a read option, just a gadget guy. But anyways, I thought Gladney was. I mean, he was bad, but I mean, he's going against Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, but it just seemed like a couple of like plays where Zimmer is just like literally screaming at him. Like when he's walking off the field, like, what the hell are you doing?
Him. Yeah.
I mean, so maybe now he knows. Maybe everything's just a learning experience because he clearly has raw talent. Like I see a lot of raw talent out of him. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Gladney's just a roller coaster right now. Another question in the chat. Do you think we can make the playoffs for Michael Miller? What are your thoughts? What is the percentage right now? Because going into the week, I had the Vikings at like 3%. I think I said 3. Now I got them at like 10 to make the playoffs.
I'll go 7% to make the playoffs.
7% to make the playoffs.
7%. It's still not good. I mean, they still got a ton of issues still. I mean, when you look at their D, I mean, just secondary's decimated.
Yeah.
With injuries. I mean, I understand like they got an easy schedule coming, or I guess it would be they got easier games, but this is what the Vikings do. I can see them losing next week to the Lions at home. You just don't know what. Yeah, Atlanta lost. I mean, it's crazy to think about when you look at the season now. They lost the Titans by 1 point or maybe 2 points. I can't remember.
Yeah, 1 point.
I think it was a point. Seattle game, and they lost just a disastrous loss at Atlanta. Could be a lot different season, but anyways, I mean, moving forward, yeah, they gotta. I mean, I still don't like their chance at all, to be honest. I mean, that the D still, gets, there's a ton of big plays against the D. You just don't know what you're gonna see from Kirk. Too, he'll have one of his, bad games where he throws a couple picks, looks like a statue in the pocket. That run game's not always going to be there. So, I don't know. I don't like the chances still.
Yeah, I still put it at 5-6%, whatever it is. I just don't see it. It's like what you said. Like, what if I mean, you said like when Cook gets hurt or Cook can't play. Why does it look like what it did against Atlanta? Like, I mean, that shouldn't be the case. Like, I understand missing a, nice player, a very good player like Cook, but like your offense shouldn't fall apart when you lose your running back. You still have your quarterback. You still have 2 very good wide receivers. You still have tight ends. Your offense shouldn't you still have a pretty capable running back. So, I just think there's just too many issues for them. And, they have road games at Tampa Bay and New Orleans and Chicago that I just don't think they're going to win. So, and that puts them at like 8 losses at least. So, I just don't see it. But, if they do win next week and they're able to go to Chicago and win, then it'll make it interesting.
Yeah. I mean, because you could sit at 4-5 and say you have 3 pretty – I mean, no game's going to be easy this year with them and their secondary, but I don't know. Another question from the chat, Kevin Stern. He says, how do you guys feel about Zimmer after this week? I've been actually I was like, fire Zimmer. And then I was thinking about it a lot during the bye week and what he's kind of gone through with this defense. And I get he's not a defensive coordinator, but if we're just looking defensive side of the ball, no Daniil Hunter, no Michael Pierce. I mean, Barr is whatever Barr is, but then just riddled with injuries. And, I mean, I can't, blame him for the corner. I mean, Gladney giving up his touchdowns today. It's not like I'm going to be like, oh, that's Zimmer's fault. Zimmer clearly told him to be there and play that way. I don't know. I mean, Zimmer, I feel like I don't think he's on the hot seat, but I feel like I don't know. I think he's fine. I mean today he had a pretty good game plan for Rodgers. Blitz occasionally, but just drop back and try to get pressure with those 4 young defensive linemen. And it made Rodgers uncomfortable in the second half a little bit. But I mean, I feel like I'm not under the impression where the Vikings should fire Zimmer right now. And I just don't think that would be smart, because sometimes the grass isn't always greener.
Can I go, Mike?
Yeah, you go first.
Hey, by the way, these are the 2 biggest Zimmer haters.
No, it's not true. That's not true.
I'm on the Fire Zimmer bandwagon.
I just read a tweet from Robert Smith saying all Zimmer doubters don't hide, or something like that. Look, I have said on this show all the time that Mike Zimmer is a good coach and he's a good football coach. The guy obviously coaches defense fantastic. I mean, he's always been a good scheme guy. His third down defense numbers have always been good. Besides, this year they actually haven't even been that bad for, what kind of defense they have. But I get frustrated with fans who always point to his defensive numbers, and he's here for defense, and I understand that. But he's not a defensive coordinator. Yeah. He's a head coach. And we are in season 7. And we've made the playoffs 3 times, and I understand he's faced a lot of adversity. His first year here, he had the Adrian Peterson situation. The 2016 team, their whole offensive line got hurt and weren't good to begin with. And now, 2018, that was one of the worst years, I think we could say, for the Vikings in franchise history, not to make the playoffs for that, for a talented team. 3 playoff appearances in 7 seasons isn't good enough. And it's not like they didn't make the play. It's not like he took over. I mean, he took over a pretty bad team, but it's not like they didn't make the playoffs. They're not on a run of playoff appearances here. There are things that make you wonder, why don't they show up for a game against Atlanta at home? What's wrong there? Against the Bears in 2018, they just don't show up. I don't know, is that the quarterback? Is that the head coach? 2019 last year, every big game they played during the regular season, they didn't show up. They lost. I shouldn't say they didn't show up, but they lost all of them. There are things that I've just pointed out that, look, I think with any other coach, in the NFL who makes the playoffs, miss the playoffs, makes the playoffs, miss playoffs, I think there would be questions, and then you're in the midst of a 1-5 season. Yeah. I think there would be questions of, whether he's the long-term fit. And me going forward, I just still think if they are going to draft a quarterback, which I think they have to at some point, is he the right guy to be the head coach with a rookie quarterback? And I think that should be left up to debate. So I don't want to call myself a Zimmer doubter. I think he's a good head coach. I don't think he's that. I think sometimes people make him like he's like Bill Belichick or something. Yeah. He can coach the heck out of defense. Yes, no question about it. But it's about and he's won majority of his games here. That's great. But we're here to win, get into the playoffs, and we're here to win division championships. We're here to get to the NFC Championship and win Super Bowls. There hasn't been a lot of that. So, I still stand by. There are, I have doubts for him as a head coach. No doubts whatsoever for, what he can do defensively.
Yeah. Here, Mike.
All right, go ahead.
No, Mike, before you go, just in the chat, someone named T Breeze says Zimmer is a defensive coordinator with challenge flags. And I feel like that just nails it. I mean, Mike, here, you go on your, let me hear what you guys say about Zim right now. Because Jim, I also agree with a lot what you were saying. If we're gonna draft a quarterback, you're right. That's the scariest part. Is Jim being a coach for a young quarterback. But Mike, go on your spiel. about Zim.
Yeah, I'll admit I'm a Zimmer doubter. I'll just put it out there right now. I've said it a lot on the show. I've ripped Zimmer a lot on the show, to be honest. But I mean, just if you look at it as like you guys said, he really is just a defensive coordinator when you look at it. He doesn't care about offense. And I think like if you look at like the teams that have won the Super Bowl, the Chiefs, how do they win? Offense. Those type of things. You have to win on with offense. You got to win with passing, throwing, get explosive plays. That's how you win in the NFL, but, like I said, I think Zimmer, he's a good like defensive coach, but I mean, if you look at it though, at a lot of the games, like the bigger games, the D never shows up, has issues getting off the field. They'll let the team, go on like a 7-8 minute drive, like at least every big game, but they just can't get off the field. And that's what it's frustrating. Just to see. I mean, he can coach up, he can develop players, I think, individual guys, some guys that really, improved under him for sure. Like Xavier Rhodes, when he first came, I thought he was really good. Then he kind of fell off a cliff, but then now he's doing good this year, which is crazy to me. But anyway, but I mean, like some D-line, Odenabo too, he showed signs.
Yeah, he played good today.
So I think he can develop individual talent. I don't know if the cornerbacks are, advancing so much that we liked so far. I think we thought he might be a little better. I don't know if it's all Zimmer. It probably isn't. It's some on players as well, not developing. But, I mean, like I said, I just don't think you're ever going to win a Super Bowl with Mike Zimmer as your coach. I think it's proven. Like Jim said, 7 years now, 3 playoff appearances. One of those wins was a lucky miracle play, against the Saints. So I don't know. That's all I got.
Yeah. Well, here, I'm going to try to get this back positive because we are coming off victory. And
sorry to be too negative, guys.
There is one player besides Dalvin Cook that I want to talk about today, and it's Eric Kendricks. And just frankly, who he's been for the Vikings for the past, 6 years now, lead the league in tackles his first 5 years. Now, right now, he's leading the NFL in tackles. I mean, he is just so damn good at what he does. And doing that with a pretty shaky defensive line. I mean, going into the year, I was kind of thinking like, can Eric Kendricks keep his production without a Michael Pierce, without a Linval, because that helps linebackers. Because then, for Green Bay, you see Kenny Clark, how many guys he's eating up. You see these linebackers just come right in, and it makes linebackers look really good. I just want to shout out Eric Kendricks because he's a middle linebacker. Yes, he was an All-Pro last year, but he's not. He doesn't have the same name recognition as a Bobby Wagner, as a Luke Kuechly. And I just think he is the best linebacker in the NFL right now, considering what he's doing and who he's around. Like, he doesn't have a good defensive line to open up these gaps because the same way an offensive line is to a running back is the same way a defensive line is to a linebacker. And I just think Eric Kendricks, I know Paul Allen loves Eric Kendricks more than anything. And I'm starting to get there too because I just see him every single time the Packers ran the ball today. I felt like he was there. And honestly, without him today, we could have easily lost too. And he had Mike. Mike, you mentioned it before we went on that, insane play he had on Devontae Adams. That's one of the best receivers in the league. And he was matched up on him a couple of times today. And he's also shutting down the run. But listen, I think Eric Kendricks is the best middle linebacker in the NFL right now, considering what he's doing with the people around him. You guys can give some love to Eric Kendricks.
Yeah. I can give love. Go ahead, Jim.
That's the most impressive part is he just keeps getting better every year too. Yep. Like it's really impressive. And the Vikings got him on a pretty nice contract, actually. They extended him on a nice contract. Like, he just keeps getting better every year. And his coverage skills, that's been, like, obviously, it's tough to cover as a linebacker, as it is, but every year his coverage skills continue to get better. And you see these big plays he's making in games. And like you said, I felt like he was making every tackle. That was one thing. The Packers, run game really kind of went away in that second half. As bad as the Vikings secondary is, and as good as Rodgers is, it does play a factor. Because I guess I've noticed when I'm watching the Packers this year, they really, I don't want to say they become like a run first team, but they really do like to rely on that running game. And when you take that away from them, they didn't have a good second half. They only scored 8 points. And that's not good against the Vikings defense. So, and Kendricks is a huge reason why. And like you said, he kind of just keeps that defense afloat. I guess the best way is
I
to
could
put
not
it.
even imagine.
Yeah.
I could not even imagine what this
he goes down.
Would look like. Oh my God! If for
Don't
some
say it,
reason he
They
would not be there for a game, this defense would legitimately give up 40 points a game. Legitimately,
We're already giving up 30 points.
We're already giving up 30 points a game.
Already giving a ton of points.
It's crazy how just much he's developed.
Yeah, I would just, he's a glue guy. He's become the glue of the D. Just look at him. I think also I got to mention, he's very underappreciated. No one ever talks about Eric Kendricks in the national media or anything like that. It's another thing. And he's been one of the top linebackers probably. For the last at least 2-3 years, he's been up there in the PFF rankings for sure. I think the biggest thing with him is his coverage skills. He's improved so much in coverage. Because he's kind of been in the league now for 6 years. Getting covering running backs, like you said today, right on Devontae Adams, knocking that ball away. It's impressive. He's definitely the glue guy, and it's definitely one positive defense. Eric Kendricks, he keeps getting better. He hasn't regressed, which I think is a key with him. So good stuff.
Here's another question in the chat from Jaden Berry. Do you have any guess on what has happened to Anthony Harris? Has teams figured a way to shut him down? Mike, you texted during the game, he looked bad, and he did, and then the next time he made that nice play on Tanya, which probably should have been a pass interference. But I think Anthony Harris, he might have just been a one-year wonder. Interceptions in the NFL, I feel are very opportunistic thing. You're not going to get 7 interceptions every year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're not. And I don't know. Maybe he just kind of had a really good year last year. I don't think he's playing awful this year. He's just kind of playing like a guy. He's just another guy there. And I don't know if every team probably prepares and says hey, he will take advantage if you throw a bad ball in his direction. But I don't know. I have to see. He even had that if you guys remember last year, the fluky pick 6 he had against Seattle where Russ tapped it to him. Interceptions are fluky. So and that's another thing about Eric Kendricks. Just because Eric Kendricks doesn't get the interceptions or the fumbles or any of that, people just disregard him. But I don't know. Yeah, another comment in the chat. He's a very quiet, under the radar guy too, like Anthony Harris. But he struggled a little bit. But I don't know. What do you guys think about Ant this year?
Yeah, I would say it hasn't been as good this year, no doubt. Again, the safety position's a hard one to evaluate because, I said, my opinion, they pay way too much for both their safeties on their team. I understand why you wanted to keep Harris after the 2 years he's had in 2018 and 2019. One thing he was doing though, he was making those plays. Even if it was an interception, I remember a couple plays last year with the fumbles, just making plays like that. I don't know. You just haven't seen the same this year. Maybe it's with, the rookie cornerbacks and, it's put a lot of pressure on him. Obviously, I know you're a big Harrison Smith fan, Pat, and most Viking fans are, and they should. He's a good player, a definitely very good player. But Harry, almost misplayed that bomb that Rodgers threw on 4th down. They're just been. They're just. I just think the safety position, it's been forced a lot of pressure on them because of what's happened with their defensive secondary. It's kind of hard to evaluate, but he definitely hasn't had the same production as he did last year, no doubt.
Yeah, Mike, before you, I feel like it was also the expectations going in the year about the safeties because we all thought this was the best safety tandem in the league. It was at least up there. And now they haven't been really producing like they have. It doesn't mean they're bad. It doesn't mean they're not a good tandem. I just think it was a lot of expectations too.
Yeah, I think, there was just a lot of hype, I think, with Anthony Harris because he had all those picks last year. the 7 picks. It'll bring some hype. But obviously he's not going to do that every year, like you said. Some of it's just lucky. Just being in the right place at the right time. But I would say, like, you have seen, though, he has gotten lost in coverage a little bit at times. Like I saw today, one play against the tight end, Tanyan on the Packers, got lost pretty bad. He was kind of like froze. I feel like he's kind of like a second late this year,
Mhm.
kind of hesitating a little bit. Like in that Seattle game too, in that end zone play, he seemed like he was just like a tad late on that play. He was supposed to knock it away, but he was just a second late. But I think he's just been a little gets a little lost in coverage. I don't know what it is. There's been a lot of missed coverages this year with him, but I don't think he's been like awful. I think he's been okay. Hasn't like killed us where he's getting beat every time. But I think there's been some times where he's gotten some guys have gotten loose on him.
Yeah. Something I also want to talk about is the rookies today. I mean, specifically Ezra Cleveland, I thought he had a good day. DJ Wonham obviously had the big play. I wish he would have played more. But then Troy Dye seemed like he was flying around the field a lot. It's weird. He reminds me of a lot of Anthony Barr, like, and like his size and the way he, like, at least just the way he looks. He reminds me just a lot of Barr. But I just want to shout out the rookies. I thought they kind of held their own today, and I thought it was fun to see, which is always good. I mean, I honestly, Spielman's draft, this past draft class, is looking pretty solid. I mean, it really depends if Gladney and Dantzler and all of them can develop. But I mean, Cleveland looked good today, and Jefferson did what he needed to do on a couple big plays. But I thought the rookies. I mean, what'd you guys think out of a couple of those guys?
Yeah, I think it's good that Troy Dye, well, with Todd Davis getting put on the COVID-19 list. Obviously hopefully he's back soon. But with Troy Dye, again, Anthony Barr, they're gonna have another decision to make at the end of the year with him. He's cap hits up pretty hard next year.
Yep.
And Troy Dye, I mean, if they're able to get 10 games here where they can evaluate them, and they gotten all this tape on Eric Wilson now, there's probably going to be a good chance that they can get a guy like that, or they probably look forward to cutting Anthony Barr at the end of the year if guys like Troy Dye play well. So that's good to see. He's I definitely see what they like him in this cover. He moves pretty quick. So that's good. I like to see James Lynch a little bit more out there. I think that would be nice. But I really like to see DJ Won't, like, with the Wonham kid play. It's not gonna be pretty all the time. He's a little raw, but no doubt. But like, let the kid play, man. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know Jalen Holmes has worked hard in trying to get an opportunity, but gotta get Wonham in there too.
Yeah. I think the only thing about the injuries is, I guess, it's kind of a blessing, is like some of these young guys are going to be able to play, which is good for the future. Getting a lot of reps in as rookies. Like Troy Dye, like I know you mentioned, Pat. I mean, like I said this on the show, I think before the season started. He was a projected first round pick by a lot of people. He had some injuries at Oregon, but he was projected first round pick. So I mean, there's definitely talent there, and he seemed like he was flying around a lot today. He seemed like he's got a kind of a good fit. Like maybe see him come on some blitzes too. He seemed like he's pretty fast. But yeah, like let him play. Let DJ Wonham play. Let James Lynch. Get him reps. What's there to lose? They're 2-5.
Yeah.
Might as well just get experience with these young guys. Get them ready for next year. The bit more reps, the better.
Yeah, NFC North news. Nick Foles just threw a bomb to Darnell Mooney, and then he just followed that up with a touchdown to Allen Robinson. Bears take the lead 10-3.
Wow.
Yeah, so the Bears offense looking not bad today. The Bears offense getting it going.
That's two drives, both scoring drives, right?
Yeah,
interesting.
Back scoring drive. First offensive touchdown.
Wow.
Yeah. But also another shout out I want to give to a player on the Vikings is Eric Wilson. I mean, he's been here for a while, and he's honestly had a pretty good year playing. I mean, maybe he just looks good because he's next to Eric Kendricks, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like him and Kendricks have a spot, or he has a spot next year next to Kendricks. He will be here next year, and I think he's earned it. But I mean, yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you for everybody who stopped by. We're gonna try to do these after every game. Let's come on here, talk for about an hour about Vikings football and everything that happened. And we'll see you guys throughout the week. Look out for a podcast and more videos from me. Leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. It would mean a ton to us. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys next time.